All right, so today we are still going to be ordering rational numbers. The first question says, between which pair of fractions is 5/8 on the number line? If we look at the denominator on 5/8, we see that it is 8. Now, what do we notice about the denominators on the answer choices? Well, if you notice, 8, 32, and 16, they all share the same common multiple. What is the common multiple between 8, 32, and 16? I can find that out by just listing the common multiples for each, the multiples for each. 8, 16, 24, 32. 32. And then for 16, 16, 32. So the common denominator is 32. So I'm going to use that common denominator to convert every fraction to have an equivalent fraction with the denominator of 32. So let's start with our initial one, which is 5/8. How did we get from 8 to 32? Times 4. What do we do to the bottom? We do to the top. 5 times 4 is 20. So 5/8 is the same as 20 over 32. Now, so how do we get from 16 to 32? Times 2. Whatever we do to the bottom, we do to the top. 5 times 2 is 10. 16 times what will give you 32? 2. Whatever we do to the bottom, we do to the top. So it's 20 over 32. Teachers, go ahead and pause the video. Scholars, I'm going to give you a chance to actually find the equivalent fraction of 9 over 16 and 11 over 16 with the denominator is 32. Teachers, pause the video. All right, so your answer should be 18 over 32. 9 over 16 is 18, equivalent to 18 over 32. And 11 over 16 is equivalent to 22 over 32. So now that we have all of our fractions written with a common denominator, we can easily determine which pair of fractions that 5/8 come into. So remember that 20 over 32 is the same as 5 over 8. So 5 over 32 and 10 over 32. Does 20 come between 5 and 10? No, so let's cross that one out. Next we have 20 over 32 and 10 and 20 over 32. Does it come between the two? No, they're the exact same. 20 over 32, 20 over 32, and 20 over 32. So that's not the answer. 17 over 32 and 18 over 32. Does 20 over 32 come between those two numbers? No, 20 over 32 comes after 18 over 32, so that one doesn't work. Last but not least, we have 19 over 32 and 22 over 32. Does 20 over 32 come in between those two? Yes, so your answer would be D. All right, so remember that when you're comparing fractions, you always want to make sure they have the same common denominator. Let's look at question number 2. Which number line is correctly labeled? We notice that we have different types of numbers: decimals, fractions, whole numbers. So first thing we need to do is we need to turn them all into the same unit. Remember, if you turn your decimals into fractions, remember you need to simplify them. So let's see, today we're going to turn our decimals into fractions because on this particular problem, that is easier. So this one and this one, 1.1 and 1.8 needs to be turned into a fraction. So teachers, I want your scholars to actually turn 1.1 into a fraction and 1.8 into a fraction. Go ahead and pause the video. All right, 1 and 1/10. It is already simplified. 1 and 8/10. They have 2 in common, the factor 2, so we divide both by 2 and we get 1 and 4/5. So I want everyone to go ahead and write their new fractions: 1 and 1/10, 1 and 4/5. 1 and 1/10, 1 and 4/5. 1 and 1/10, 1 and 4/5. Same thing here. Now I want you guys to figure out if you can figure out the answer. Teachers, go ahead and pause the video and decide the answer. All right, so let's see. I know that 1 and 1/2 should definitely be in the middle. So I'm going to automatically cross these two out. Now, we have these two to compare. 1 and 1, 1 and 1/10, 1 and 1/10. 1 and 4/5, we have to decide if it's in the right area. I would turn this into an equivalent, a fraction that has a denominator of 10. That would be times 2, that's 8/10. What 1/10 comes before 8/10, so that one will be in the correct spot. So I don't even have to look at the rest of these to know. So the answer should be F. All right, I want you guys to go ahead and do number 3 on your own. Once you're done, raise your hand. Teachers, when the scholars have raised their hands for number 3, please check it before they are able to move on. If you get it correct, please do 4, 5 on your own.